Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Payments campaign. Our shopping habits are changing, and so are our payment preferences. Or are they? Although many of us continue paying for our online shopping with debit or credit cards, there are more people out there than you realize who surprisingly still want to use cash. And we're seeing an increasing number of shoppers demanding alternative payment methods such as digital wallets, bank transfers, and prepaid cash solutions. So are businesses ready to handle the plethora of payment options? As a business, you want all the conversion you can get, but how do you identify and integrate all the relevant payment options in a cost-effective and secure way? Well, we have invited Philip McHugh, CEO of Paysafe, one of the largest private payments companies that processes over 80 billion transactions a year, to discuss this. Philip, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. So let's start off talking about the impacts of COVID-19 on commerce. Has it changed everything?
No, absolutely. It's obviously a big question on everyone's mind, and obviously the biggest change and concern everyone has is some of the, especially smaller businesses, are really suffering and being hurt by this. But everyone's asking, is there a global reset because of COVID? And I think the main answer is actually no. What has actually happened is things have accelerated. The same trends existed pre-COVID as they exist now. Was e-commerce a trend before COVID? Absolutely. It's just grown even faster. What I'm seeing isn't a change. I'm seeing an acceleration of existing trends. If you rewind the clock back, was e-commerce important pre-COVID? Absolutely. It's just even more important than before. Did you need an online and an in-store omni-channel strategy? You absolutely needed it. Now it's critical to survival. And was data protection and fraud, was that important before? It was. It was a big and growing issue. Now it's just accelerated because so much activity is now truly digital. So it's an acceleration of the trends more than a change in the trends is the way I see it.
What does it mean in terms of consumer shopping habits?
There's a big population of consumers that are digitally savvy and were online and did all or part of their shopping online. And again, what we've seen is a jump start. We've accelerated, or in other words, invited a whole new population of consumers who are buying products online, and we think they're going to stay. We're seeing consumers, we did a survey back in April, and 56% of consumers said they tried a new method to pay online, either a bank transfer or maybe a credit card on a new site. So all sorts of people are now experimenting and learning how to buy online than they ever did before. So that's a massive change. Again, it's an existing trend. It's just kind of like we've jump-started and jumped forward maybe 5, 6, 7, even 10 years in terms of the amount of people. But it's very exciting to see, and you're seeing all sorts of population from young kids to much older populations as well going online for the first time.
And how have businesses had to adapt to consumer demands?
Basically, some were very ready. They're kind of e-commerce businesses. But again, there had to be lots of adoption and adaptation. If all your business moved to online, now your online strategy becomes important. Who are you partnering with as a payment company? Do they have all the payment methods? So the more payment methods you have, the more acceptance you have, which means the more sales you have. So all of a sudden, lots of companies absolutely have to change their business model. It's not just about moving the tables out onto the street for restaurants. It's about delivery, curbside, online, international commerce. They're not only changing what they sell, who they sell to, they're seeking new customers now as well to survive. So the importance of payment companies to support that commercial change is massively important right now.
Would you say the way that companies take part in payment processing can also be a competitive advantage for them?
No, absolutely. If you're competing in the space on cost alone, and a lot of companies look at this as a cost, and it is a cost, but that is short-sighted. And in the COVID world, that difference between a cost-only player and a player that helps a customer sell more is a big difference, because a really good payments company, and Paysafe has a lot of pride in this point, makes things easier, ease of integration, has great risk and fraud and security to make sure that you don't have the headaches. If you're a company that can bring me multiple ways to pay, now I'm getting more acceptance. If you're a company that has great security and fraud protection, I've got less concerns. And in some companies, and we're a case, and there's several others out there, we also can bring consumers to your company as well, because we actually have customers that use our payment methods, and we can bring them to the merchant. So the customer, the payment player that can help a merchant do more, help them sell more, that is strategic, that is critical, versus just being a cost of processing in the background. And that's a pretty important shift that we're seeing.
What will be the long-term effect of COVID-19 on commerce?
On one side, I see a pretty healthy consumer base globally. Consumers have savings, they have deposits, they're paying their debts. There's actually a really interesting positive story going on the consumer side. On the other side, merchants, especially small merchants, they're in trouble. You are seeing closures of restaurants and stores. So how does this all manifest itself out as we start to see better clinical support and better vaccines? Is there a real big snapback of a consumer boom, or does it take time to work out some of these small business, bankruptcies, and what does that look like? I tend to err on the optimistic side. So that's one. In the long term, I don't see that much change. Again, all these trends were happening. Technology as a major driver was happening. Data security as a major driver was happening. E-commerce drives. So all we've done is we've kind of accelerated the clock to get there. I think when we look back in 5-10 years, I don't think there'll be that much difference versus what we would have predicted a decade prior.
When it comes to the challenges, would you say it's expensive for businesses to address these challenges?
Payments isn't what they think about. Company owners are passionate about their product. They want to sell food, they want to sell a service, they want to sell a product they're proud of. That's their passion, that's what they think about. And a good payment solution needs to be cheap, affordable, and in the background, not in the foreground. What has happened is, with so much change, how and who they sell to, the whole shopping experience that we're having has changed dramatically for everybody. Do we want to stay in lines? Do we want to touch the point of sale terminal versus contactless? Where is cash in all of this? All of these pieces have changed. So a store owner naturally has to think about these things because they've got to sell their product, and we are the technology that helps that sale happen. So it is expensive. It can be time consuming, but there are so many companies, and Paysafe included, where we have the solutions. Again, it's ease of integration, understanding security, data, and fraud, bringing them multiple payment options. These things can completely change the way they operate and help them sell more during a tough time, and frankly, really flourish when things normalize.
So Philip, you mentioned cash, so how does that change?
There's been a lot of press about cash is dead and everyone's going to cashless. And in a way, again, that's been an ongoing trend for a while. We've certainly seen contactless take off, but equally, the need to buy things digitally has grown even more than the payment changes have happened. So there's a gap there. What we see are consumers, older consumers or more security conscious consumers that want to use cash, not their credit card, but have to buy online. So we're seeing products like our eCash product that allow consumers to use cash, get a digital voucher, and trade online, growing tremendously and supporting security conscious consumers, supporting some older consumers who are used to using cash and don't want their credit card exposed, to underbanked, people that don't have a credit card, they don't have an Apple Pay. How are they participating in this digital revolution? So you have to have that solution for consumers as well, and we've seen that solution grow tremendously with some great stories.
Where does Paysafe come into this, and how do they differ from other payment partners?
Yeah, when we look at it, we've been in the market for 20 years, and all of our success has always been about understanding our end client, understanding the company, how do they sell more, how do we make the complex simple, and take the friction out for them. How do we do that? We've got great technology that's easy to integrate with, so that's less headache. We are global, so for a merchant that wants to go around globally, we are their partner to support them there. But most importantly, we have a unique combination of products for consumers and for businesses. I can help you take payments with fraud and security and peace of mind, but equally I have alternate payment methods like my digital wallet and my eCash that can bring consumers and other ways to pay and sell their products. And that combination has always helped our core customers grow and do more, and something we're really, really proud of.
And what changes have you made at Paysafe to adapt to COVID-19?
There was a jump in demand in online and digital commerce. So our systems had to be ready. We had to take on that demand. There's also a big increase in cyber attacks. And we're talking 50, 60, 70% jumps in the number of attacks versus what we usually received. And we had to be there to secure that, have the systems and the technology and the monitoring to sweep that out of the way so we could be there and run the business. So those are the two kind of blocking and tackling pieces. The next piece then was to make sure that we could bring alternate payment types. We could bring our e-commerce or our omni-channel solutions to our merchants to support them as they were tweaking their strategies to survive or to find new sales in a dramatically different market.
Well, Philip, thank you so much for your time today and giving us more insight into the future of payments. We appreciate it.
Really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks, Keith.